Hello, fellow language educators around the globe. Welcome to another episode brought to you by Your Next, a channel committed to provide you educational videos where learning and teacher expertise meet. We're now on the second question in our segment entitled Ask a Professor. Let me start by sharing to you a beautiful message from Thomas Kahn when he said that the answers we get depend on the questions we ask. You may ask, why do you have to ask questions? We simply ask questions because it is the best and effective way to learn. Now let me present to you the question coming from teacher J.R. Morales from Cavite, Philippines. This is an interesting question. Roll VTR, please.
A pleasant afternoon, Mr. Noel. I am J.R. Morales from the English Department of Lumampong National High School in Dang Annex, headed by Dr. Felinda E. Cruz. As a language teacher, it is our task to monitor the progress of our students' reading skills. Our students are in online distance learning and most are in modular learning. Now with this kind of setup, what strategies or techniques can you recommend to us in order for us to conduct our reading remediation program effectively? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Teacher JR, for that very engaging question. More than ever, it is a teacher's responsibility to improve indeed our students' reading literacy. I feel that is indeed a challenge to improve the reading competence of our students. And I salute you and your team for taking such a great initiative for providing, of course, the struggling readers an intervention scheme. The Reading Upswing or Remediation program is truly a great support to those students who need it as the most. Now it's high time to reflect first on where we are in terms of number one, closing the gap between what the student knows and what is expected of them. Number two, have we reduced the number of students who have difficulty learning to read? And number three, is the intervention or remediation program effective enough to address the needs of our students? That is the very first step to conduct a reading remediation program effectively. We need to assess our students' present level and we need to know what are the reading performance success indicators. It is important to analyze the reading challenges or the reading difficulties before we are going to talk about reading strategies and techniques. Reading strategies or techniques are expected to be implemented right after we are aware of the students' needs needed to be addressed. The reading techniques are expected to be parallel to what are the concerns at hand. To mention a few is the issue about decoding problems or perception problems, like the students do not really know how to read, or is it a comprehension problem? The students know how to read, yet they don't understand what they are reading. Or number three, is it a retention issue? The students know how to read, they understand what they read, however, they'll forget what they read. After knowing the challenges, reading techniques can follow, coupled, of course, with preparing suitable teaching reading materials. Of course, I am one with you that reading techniques or strategies are essential in order to improve the beginning or struggling readers so that they will become critical readers proficient readers or genuine readers. Always remember that reading strategies should translate word to flesh, print to meaning. So, what are the reading techniques that I can recommend? Let us explore first on some reading techniques or strategies because there is truth in each of them. Have we explored in the following? SQ3R: survey, question, read, recite, and review. Scanning, locating for precise information or specific details. Skimming, grasping the general idea or the main idea of the text. Schema activation, using prior knowledge of our students and tapping their prior learning experiences. Questioning techniques, of course, questions are very powerful as you move from WH questions to literal questions up to critical level questions. I think everyone is also familiar with the reading the line, reading between, and reading beyond. Using graphic organizers, allowing the students, of course, to use mind map, semantic web, and any graphical representation to cover a certain concept of the text. Reading plots, reading pyramids, or prompts. The SPE technique, so the structure, proposition, evaluation. Silent reading, active reading, reading aloud, detailed reading, among others. There are many, like retelling, inferencing, making judgments, recognizing facts and opinions, and even moving from intensive reading to extensive reading. See, 1,000 techniques, and I hope that you and your teachers would choose properly which reading techniques are suitable to your learners. I read some reading strategies recommended by experts in order to improve reading skills, and let me share these 7 techniques to you. Number 1, activating. Number 2, inferencing. Number 3, monitoring, clarifying. Number 4, questioning. Number 5, searching, selecting. Number 6, summarizing. Number 7, visualizing, organizing. On my personal recommendations, I'd like you to consider 3 main types of reading strategies in order to process how do we teach reading skill effectively. Number 1, bottom-up process of teaching. Teaching reading skill from specific to general. Strategies include the following. Pre-teaching the vocabulary inputs, previewing or unlocking of difficulties, highlighting a certain idea, enriching or highlighting lexical or vocabulary inputs, drilling sight words or providing practices for pronunciation. Number 2, teaching using the top-down process. It is the reverse. We teach from the big complex idea down to specific. Strategies include the following. Integrating life-related ideas, retelling lessons, connecting ideas to significant human experiences, activating schema, or using embodied cognition. This is effective, of course, to those students who are already working for fluency. Thus, they can already express their ideas and thoughts. This process is highly recommended to those students who have already the ability to express their ideas and thoughts. Thus, they are not working anymore for comprehensibility input or level of input. However, they are already working for proficiency and fluency. Number 3, in-depth reading. In-depth reading requires our students to go beyond the text, go beyond evaluation. So from knowledge acquisition to knowledge deepening, we're expecting our students to have knowledge creation. Speaking of creation, I would highly recommend that you and your team would create a specific movement or kind of like more of a reading project that will allow your students, of course, to pour out their creative juices. For instance, you can have a reading nook, a reading corner, where students would gather and they will definitely exchange ideas of certain books that they will be reading along with their peers. Or you can utilize a buddy system technique where the students who are struggling readers will be paired to those students who are proficient but supportive students. Or another can be project related learning activities such as designing a bulletin board or allotting a specific time such as drop everything and read moment. You can also explore on the idea about having book talk presentations wherein students are expected of course to share a book they'd love to share to the group, and I think you are aware that this is pleasurable reading because we don't predetermine what books they have to read. According to research, book talk presentations are pleasurable. There is, of course, a move from intensive reading to ER or extensive reading, where students are expected to have the volition as to which or what kind of books they'd love to share in front of the class. Experts say that book talk presentations would not only promote the love of reading, but it would also encourage students to genuinely love reading. Those are some of my recommended techniques. Always remember, everyone is a reader. Some just haven't found the right books or the appropriate reading techniques that are suited for each of them. There you have it, teacher. Once again, I'm happy to be asked. Thank you very much for engaging with us. This is Professor Noel Yu, signing off.